What is up, fam? Welcome to the 21st episode of my series as the Nation of Austria here, where we're going to be absolutely killing it, of course. And I'm very happy to say that the focus of this episode, I say as I declare war against Denmark, is going to be PU and Castile, thankfully. Now, it has been over 100 years, guys. So in regards to that one thing, I would say that we haven't been sort of neither extremely lucky or extremely unlucky. You can, of course, if you were extremely unlucky, not manage to get the PU at all over Castile, as there could be some funny business like our heir, the Habsburg heir, dying. But what I realized here very quickly is, you can see I just checked it then. The ruler is extremely old, and I'm checking it almost obsessively every couple of days to make sure that I'm staying on top of the situation over there in Castile, because I know there's about 50% chance that when they pass away, and there it is, I see the Dynasty tab pop up, grab Royal Marriage with Castile. Apparently he's got a Queen Habsburg and no heir, so we're grabbing that Royal Marriage, claiming that throne as we share Dynasty, and going in for the declared war, and I'm simply waiting for my emissary to return, and it's very stressful as I hope and plead that he does not get an heir anytime soon. But what I was going to say, guys, is that when the good news is, when it happens in this manner, that the ruler and the heir, they just live on and on and on. When the ruler lives on and on and on, and you're desperately wanting them to die, what happens is that the heir gets more and more elderly. So that's kind of the good news, is if that he did have an heir, well, you know, the heir, I've noticed it's usually about 50% likely that when an heir comes of age, or whatever comes into the throne, there is another heir. It's about 50%, just from, eyeballing it, estimating it, I've noticed. And the thing is, that heir is about 50% likely to be 0 years old. I've also noticed that. So what that means is, if the heir comes into the throne, but he's very old, like 50, 60, because the ruler lived on forever, very often there's going to be no heir, or the heir is 0 years old. So there's going to be a window where, most likely in the next 15 years, the elderly heir that just came into the throne will pass away, and then you're going to have the same sort of 50% flip of a coin once that 0-year-old comes out of regency. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, I was pretty optimistic that I would get the PU over Castile, but thankfully for me, it was, soon after revoking. And the good news, although I did get it really early in my original Austrian game, the good news that I did get it at this stage is that the war itself, of course, is not going to be any issue whatsoever, because we have revoked, and we're going to be able to absolutely crush Castile, undoubtedly. And looking forward to using his reconquest as well, just because get out of Europe. Morocco, am I right? I'm pretty sure I'm right about that one. But as we fight this war here, it's pretty self-explanatory how it's going to go. I am at war with Denmark as well over some of the claims on behalf of the empire, feeding the empire there. But I did want to give you guys a little tip. It is exactly that, a little tip. Nothing major, but it's something that I have noticed in regards to your subjects claiming land. Very often, say that you're Castile, for example, you get the wedding, you have Aragon, and you want to feed those high development provinces in southern France to Aragon, so that when you integrate them, you have more control over the Genoan trading region, but also you do actually integrate the country for free when you form Spain, right? So those high development provinces you want to integrate for free. Now, say that you set them high priority and he's your rival, and Aragon has every reason to claim them up. Sometimes, even though they have every reason to claim them up, there's a bit of an issue there. And in some ways it can occur in this manner, like he claims up southern France, and then those claims actually fade, and he doesn't claim them up again. And what I have noticed is that if you do have a claim, like maybe all but one claim has faded, and then you actually go to war with France, give him that land, for some reason the AI seems to then aggressively claim up more land. So to clarify, in Denmark's case, the way I think many of my nations had one claim, and I ended up declaring on the one nation who had 2 or 3 claims. But what tends to happen is I will feed those 3 provinces. It's whatever. I'm rich. I've got plenty of time. I feed those 3 provinces. I have a short truce time. And then what ends up happening is by the time my truce is up, there's claims all over his land. I don't know why things work that way, but they seem to work that way. So I just thought I would let you guys know. Very often, going to war, feeding your subjects land, makes it so that you can do that even more so hyper aggressively. But this is going to be this episode. Pretty self-explanatory. Slowly sieging up Castile. The fact that I am fighting another war means my empire is not, and the fact that they were all exiled in Africa as well, after feeding Tunis last episode, means that my empire is not that productive at coming down here and just rushing into Iberia, but I am strong in my own right, and therefore I am able to do a lot of the work myself, or give ourselves a head start, as you can see, breaking my way through into his capital, so I can at least access his capital, which is going to give us that beauty. It's the war goal, basically. You guys get that. But with that being said, guys, my truce, as I did not take very much land from France, my truce is up with France and therefore up with Russia. And this time around, I'm hoping that I have, more claims now that I've made all of France high priority land, and going to go ahead and just systematically feed up nations like Denmark, like France, and in the future, England as well. I mean, it's not like we're desperately in need of him as an ally, of course, and feeding it all to the Empire, and I expect to press that button and unite the vast majority of land within inside the Empire for absolute free. But do you guys recall how I've just been talking about how I intentionally, throughout this episode, I don't desire good luck in order to demonstrate the circumstance? And with that being said, we did have fairly bad luck. However, things are about to change this episode. If you notice there, I'm looking over at Russia eagerly because he actually had a very old ruler and a somewhat mature, about 34-year-old heir that just abruptly died. And he's got a very old ruler right now. And as it happens, I was able to grab a royal marriage with him, as you can see anytime I open the diplomatic tab. And what you'll actually, what I know is that he previously had, a long time ago, poor legitimacy. I don't know where it's at now exactly, because you cannot see your legitimacy of other nations, but what I do know is that if he passes away at this very old age, we actually inherit the throne, and it's going to be a succession war between Poland and myself over the Muscovite throne. Now, speaking of PUs, I'm just about to enforce that union over Castile, and of course Aragon as well, inheriting 2 nations at this war. I just about have the war score. I think I do actually have the war score. No, I think it's 86 actually. So he's just about to accept it, even though I'm so far behind because of his low enthusiasm. In a very timely fashion as we approach the end of this episode. Converting up provinces for my subjects, which is pretty standard stuff. I did the same thing for Genoa. I'm trying to stabilize his region out there, as he's not the most stable country ever. It is somewhat important that we manage the rebels, but of course we're not concerned about peasants or anything like that. And a union with Muscovy. Yeah. So his ruler, which was about 68 years old, just passed away. And I just inherited Muscovy. So, beauty, mate. Beauty, mate. That felt really good, guys. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I really put the hard yakka in this series. I told you guys I did actually get some good luck when I was doing this, and therefore I actually had to restart the series in order to intentionally get bad luck. And funnily enough, people in the comments talking about how they're having a better game than me. Well, I'm not surprised, especially if you guys utilize my tactics of stealing the Scandinavians and so on. But how about that? How about that for a good game? All right, how about that? I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you tune in for the final episode, next episode. Thank you very much for watching, guys, And thanks for being here. It's been a fun time, and I hope that you guys can have a glorious game just like myself. See you next time.